you're always forgetting how to connect these two binding strips, save this video for later. This is how I like to connect these two strips with a diagonal seam. Sew the binding on until you are about 12 inches away from where you started, and then remove the quilt from the machine, leaving this gap open here. I like to give myself more like 12 inches because it is a little easier to work with that way. Now we need to connect these two binding strips. I am going to be connecting these also with a diagonal seam, so I do this by taking this top strip and folding it back on itself, kind of pick somewhere in between where the two meet towards the middle, and then do the same thing with the bottom strip. You will want the folds to not quite touch, so they should be about 1/8 to 1/4 inch apart. Then I have my iron right here, so I go ahead and give it a good press because I'm going to want to see where these press lines are. If you have a Hera marker nearby, you can try using that too to press a crease. This is the part I used to struggle with the most, so I'll try to go slow here. First, take this top strip and go ahead and open it up with the wrong side of the fabric facing down. It shouldn't be twisted a lot or anything. And we're going to find where these 2 points meet, or where the 2 creases meet. There should be like this X shape. So here I just have it facing up. I'm going to grab a pin, and then I'm going to open up my bottom strip, but I'm going to have the wrong side of the fabric facing up, or the right side facing down. Then I take the pin and put it right in the spot where these 2 creases meet. Now, whatever's going on with your quilt on the left does not matter. You can bunch it up as much as you want, and then take the pin and put it also in the other strip where the 2 points meet. The 2 strips should be perpendicular, and if you lay them down, you'll see that the creases that are going vertically on one strip will match with the horizontal on the other, and vice versa. A few important things to note here will be that the right sides of the fabric should be facing each other, and then the 2 ends of the strips should be on the right, while the 2 pieces of the strips that meet the quilt should be on the left. Then I kind of just straighten everything out, and then I will actually move this pin and pin it in place, and then you can add another 1 or 2 pins to help you keep it in place. You'll want to make sure that it is also nice and flat, that both strips are flat. Go ahead and grab a fabric marker and a ruler and mark a line from the top corner down to the bottom corner. Again, on one side of this marked line should be the 2 loose ends, and on the other side should be the 2 ends attached to your quilt. This is important that the seam is in the right spot. Once you have marked that line, you will just go ahead and sew right along that line. Do not put it this way. Put it so that the 2 loose ends are on one side and the 2 ends meeting your quilt are on the other. This is the thing that I used to mess up all the time. Once you have sewn along that line, this is what it should look like. And before cutting away those loose ends, let's go ahead and lay your quilt flat and make sure that everything looks how you want it to look. The 2 ends should not be pulling on the quilt at all. It shouldn't be too tight, but it also shouldn't be too loose where you can like fold up the binding and it's not flat against the quilt. If it is, just go ahead and rip out the stitches and try again. Mine is looking okay, so I'm going to go ahead and trim this back to 1/4 inch seam allowance. Make sure you're trimming away the loose ends and not on the other side of your seam. And then I give it a little press and finish sewing on this binding by just sewing 1/4 inch away from the edge like I did the rest of my binding. And then we will be ready to flip it over and attach it on the other side.